So it's been a little bit since I've been able to do an update. Things have just been chaotic with my work life, so haven't got the chance to do much with my gardening stuff, but everything is looking good still. Actually, I'm just noticing this as I'm getting closer here, but our cilantro has got some true leaves forming. That's amazing. Also, I just watered this, which is why there's some that are leaning over here. Little gym lettuce is looking good. I'm gonna need to thin these down to 1 per spot. So I'll pick the best looking one and I will cut the rest at the root. This box I'm just gonna let grow exactly how it's growing now. This one is ridiculously overgrown. I should have done something about this a lot sooner, but I didn't, and so I'm regretting that, but I'll hopefully be able to take care of that this week or this weekend. The spinach, on the other hand, has also got some true leaves growing, so that's really exciting. Now for our seeds that we started this past week. It's been exactly a week since I planted them. Move the grow lights a little bit so you can see. We've got tomato plants in this first row of these big cells. And then marigolds. Nothing has come up from the peppers or the delphiniums in this tray. More tomatoes back there in that first row. These are daisies. These are marigolds. What's this one? These two are zinnia. Then we have kale and we have calendula. So we have 1 calendula, 2 kale, 4 total cells of zinnias, 3 of marigolds. Oh, there's one in this row. What is this row? This is Chinese forget-me-nots. There's just one popping up right now. All this variety of daisy has filled this row here, and we have all but 1 tomato over here. We have not gotten any peppers anywhere to pop up yet. No delphiniums. There's one kind of daisy that I have that hasn't started either. Last year I didn't get any calendula, so I'm actually really excited about that little guy right there. Something else I'm hoping to start this week or this weekend is hardening these off. So all these plants are plants that do well in the cold. So though our last frost date here in Nebraska isn't going to be for another probably month or so, these will be okay outside sooner than that. So I want to start acclimating them to being outside just an hour a day, hopefully in the mornings, probably starting this weekend, maybe sooner, depending on how my timing works out with everything. But biggest update here that I'm noticing is our cilantro true leaves, our spinach true leaves, and then all of these lovely tomato plants. I do not need that many tomato plants, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all of them. I think it's interesting. This row of tomatoes here is all the new variety that I'm trying this year, and this second row is the variety that I did last year. Oh, and maybe there is one starting to pop up here in this cell. It's kind of hard to see, but I think there's a little stem popping up. I'm excited to have this new variety. I kind of wanted one of each on my balcony, and then the rest of them I don't know what I'll do with, but I'll be interested to see how things progress here and if I'm going to be able to do one of each variety or if I'm only going to get the one, which is fine. I can still compare to what I remember from last year, but I kind of wanted to do a side-by-side comparison of those. I wish that I had a better light situation. We do have another grow light or shop light that I would use as a grow light, but we just haven't had the chance to print another one of these for it yet. So until then, this is what I've got. Something else that I need to do this week is add a fan to blow on these sprouts so that they start growing stronger and getting acclimated to what it feels like to have wind on them as a simulation kind of thing. But there's the update. It is Wednesday, March 25th. So these were planted exactly a week ago. These have been growing for 2.5 weeks. So stay tuned for whatever it is that I can get accomplished this week, and hopefully this video will be coming out on Sunday. So hopefully by then I'll be able to have a little bit more entertaining of a video by showing you what I'm going to be doing with this and starting the hardening off process. Good morning. It is Thursday morning. It is 8:45 a.m. and I've planted the seeds in my planters about 2.5 weeks ago. So I want to start hardening them off so that I can eventually take them outside full time. It is about, let's see, 60 degrees outside right now. Still mostly shaded on my balcony, so it'll be a good time to take them out there and start to get them acclimated to being outdoors. First, I'm going to give them a little bit of a drink, and then we'll take them all out there. I'm probably after like about an hour, I'll bring them back inside, but before I bring them back in, I will probably do some thinning out because it's been a project I've been needing to do and have been putting off. So that's the plan for this morning. I have the morning off. I do have to go into work this afternoon, so I won't have time to do a whole ton of projects, but I think I will be able to accomplish the things that I've listed. So let's get rocking on that. Now that I've got them all watered, I'm going to go ahead and take them outside. All right, I've got all my planters out here. I'm just gonna let them hang out for probably an hour, maybe hour and a half. Just get them a little bit acclimated to being outside here while the weather is nice, breezy, beautiful this morning. So I'll bring it back when I bring them back inside and hopefully have time to thin out a few of those boxes. All right, so they got their time outside this morning. It was about an hour and a half or so, and they seem to have taken it decently well, so that's a good sign. I hope to be able to do the same thing a few more times this week and just keep getting them acclimated. Didn't have a chance to thin them out yet because I forgot that I had an appointment this morning, so brought them back in, and I'll update you when I do have a chance to finally get that project done. I need to get these watered from the bottom. I've been spraying them with mist to water them so far, but they're getting quite dried out, and I need to make sure that they're getting enough water here. So anyways, there's not a lot of sprouts right now. I need to make sure they're getting enough water. I'm gonna grab my can and I'm gonna water them from the bottom. So I'm gonna fill this up and then put some water underneath of the trays. I'm always uncertain of how much water to really put in the underside of the trays. I'm also nervous to move it. I think what I'm going to do here, slide this out of the way. Let's see if I can pick this up. Oop. We're just going to put some water in the bottom. Enough to fill up the treads, I guess. Okay. Feeling good about that. I'm going to put them back in. Just slide that one to the side. Do the same here. This one is broken up into halves. I need more water. That might be too much. I'm going to set them in and let them soak up a little bit of that water, and we'll pull it out here in about 30 minutes, maybe 15. This one might need more. A little bit more to the larger pots. I'm just going to dump some in the side here. Okay. I'm going to let these trays absorb some of that water, and I will check back in once I've let them set for a little bit, and then I'll drain out what's left behind and put them back in under the lights. It's maybe been 5 minutes, and I just did a little peek here, and it looks like the water has already been fully soaked up. So I'm having a little bit of plant mom guilt for definitely not having enough water in these. But I'm going to add some more water to the bottom and let them keep soaking. These have been planted for 10 days, so I do want to give an update on what we're looking at, just a little bit of a closer look. This is all one variety of tomato, and this is all that same variety here, so pretty good germination rate on those. These are marigolds, pretty good so far in these 2 cells. This is supposed to be peppers. I put a little water on the top as I've been sitting here because this is just bone dry and I'm feeling a little guilty about it. And then delphiniums here, none of those has sprouted yet. In the second row, we have a second variety of cherry tomatoes. These were the ones that I used last year, and I wasn't like absolutely obsessed with how things went with them, so I'm not sad that they're not germinating as well as this other variety. Keep in mind, I only have space for 2 tomato plants on my balcony. Updates to come on which of these varieties I'm going to plant. If I'm just going to plant 2 of the new variety or 1 of each. In this third row, it's supposed to be peppers here. There are not any above the soil, but it's really hard to see, but you can see a little bit of green peeking out of that one there. So we've got hope. We've got hope. This row is supposed to be delphiniums, nothing yet. This row is one of the varieties of daisies that I have, and this is another variety of daisies, so very much a big difference between those 2 varieties based on what has germinated so far and what has not. So I'll have to go back and look at which one is which. Here is the row of Chinese forget-me-nots. I've never planted these before, and look at how beautiful the sprouts are. So there's one that's established decently well, and this one is just popping up today. This row is another row of marigolds. There's one, and then you can see there are others that have started to come up, but it feels like there's something wrong with them. I don't know. Maybe the seed just hasn't popped off the top of them yet, and that's why they're looking funny to me. But that's marigolds. These next 2 rows are 2 different varieties of zinnias. I feel like there were sprouts in the first row of zinnias at one point. Like you can see here, there's one trying to poke up. And then there's one that looks like it already died. So that's not great, but that it really just says volumes about my lack of attention that I've been able to pay to these this week, and I'm a little disappointed, but hopeful that we'll still have some zinnias coming out of this. Also, I can direct sow those, so I'm not too worried. The second variety of zinnia has a solid 2 cells that have decent sprouts in them. Then we have, this row is kale. Similar situation. These, you can see they were there and they're fried, like these 2 cells. Whereas this one is coming up decently well. It looks like there might have been one in here that's already died as well. That's disappointing. And calendula, I just have this one. So there's a few factors here. This side is naturally getting a lot more light from my grow lights because it's closer to the shop light that I'm using as a grow light on my planter boxes that are in there. And then I've got this cheap grow light that I bought last year that I've been trying to use for these, and I just don't think it's been doing them any services. So as it gets close to this end, it kind of makes sense to me why there's not a lot of sprouts. That just tells me that I need to do a little better on the lighting on this half and be a little bit more consistent with my watering. Missing the top has just not been enough, and I need to get pretty consistent with doing some bottom watering so that I'm making sure they're getting enough moisture. Same would be the case with this. Also, these 2 rows don't have anything in them yet. There's going to be cantaloupe in them at some point, but that's just not something I'm quite ready to plant. So that's the update. A little bit disappointing in some areas, but also exciting in others. I'm most excited about these Chinese forget-me-nots. I just think that they look so precious. So I'm hoping that more of them show up. Something that I'm really hoping for is seeing some peppers and some delphiniums pop up here in the next week or so. I haven't grown either one of those before, and so I'm really hopeful that I'm going to see some fruits from the labor. But I also just need to be a little bit more consistent with my care. So that's a little bit of a call out for me and an update on my seedlings as I'm sitting here waiting for them to bottom water. So I did top water a few in addition to the bottom watering, just that were very dry. All an experiment. I'm feeling a little bit not very confident right now. So yeah, I'll update you when I am ready to move these back into the other room. It's been about 30 minutes and I've noticed that basically, oh my goodness, basically every last drop of the water that I put in there has been soaked up. So I don't need to dump any of the excess since they got a really good drink. Same here. There's a little bit more, a little bit of water remaining in this one, but it would be something that I'd have to dry out with paper towel, and I'm just not that worried about them getting overwatered from that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them back in the room that they are growing in and get them back under that light. There's a pretty noticeable weight difference between when I took those out of this room and now that I've brought them back in. So that just tells me that they got a good drink. Here is my planter boxes that we've been working on here for, what has it been? 2.5, 3 weeks? I need to do the math, but looking great. You can see I've just pretty much given hope on my plan of thinning. If I do thin, these are kind of outrageous. So I think it's gonna be really hard to pick and choose what to thin out of those. Might just let them keep going. I do still want to be more intentional about these ones, so I might just go ahead and do that now. Give me just a second here. I'm going to go ahead and move the light back and get a close-up on this box here that has my little gem variety. I'm going to make sure that each plot only has one of the strongest sprouts so that I can say that I've successfully thinned something, even if it's not the most treacherous. But that one is overwhelming me. Yeah, I don't want to touch that one. This one is manageable, and that's what we're going to do today. I feel like I need, wow, you can tell that there's a big difference between these ones that have been back away from the light versus these ones that have been more underneath of it. So I got 4 plots. I'm going to start with this one. Let's see. Well, this one I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. It's the smallest of them. Between these two, they're kind of tangled. Let me see here. I kind of want to push some soil up around them. So whichever one I keep has a little bit more support. Let's see. This one's got a thinner stem, so I'm going to get rid of that one. This feels so wrong. I hate thinning. Just give them a little more support. Bury that leggy bit a little bit. Hopefully that helps. That one just a little bit. Let's see. Between these two, I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. Ooh, okay. These are really strong because they're the ones that are directly under the light, but I think I've found my strongest soldier here. First, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. This one's going to go. It's between these two. This one's got the most growth, and I like that funky leaf, so I'm keeping that one. And then here's 3 that I have to decide from. Okay, this one's got a really thin stem. I like that one. I'm gonna get rid of this one. Okay, finally. This one's giving me a little bit weird vibes right now. Hold on. Maybe I shouldn't be messing with their soil as much. I think it just needs a drink as well. But kind of just want to prop that up. Same with this one. Give it a little bit more structure. And we'll remove all of that. This can all be eaten, can be used as microgreens. TBD if I eat those today. There's not very many. I'm kind of getting like excited now. I kind of do want to try and tackle that one over there. Okay, I'm going to slide this one back in its spot. And we'll give them a drink here after I'm done with this project. Okay. This is such a mess. That is ridiculous. I'm mad at myself for letting it get like this. Because how am I even supposed to separate them? Okay. Huh. Well, I'm just gonna go to town. All of these look pretty bad over here, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even know how I'm supposed to separate these. Look at those roots. They're all thin and gross. I need to consult the internet. Yeah, the internet told me that I should pick like 6 and keep them, but this is such a mess. I don't even know how I would get it down to 6. These are ridiculous. So, I'm feeling conflicted. I'm feeling a little defeated and conflicted, actually. Sometimes you're going to have fails, and this is my biggest fail at the moment. Even just trying to gently lift them is like breaking them. This is insane. There's one in the center that looks really great, like this one here. But how do you even untangle them? I'm just gonna be a little ruthless here. I can only imagine how the roots look of this situation right now. Okay, there's a little less going on now. I'm still taking out pretty big chunks. I'm being ruthless. But I do want to remind myself and you guys that this is a variety I did not love last year. So I am okay if nothing good comes of this box. I've taken out a bunch of these just like really leggy bits. And really no rhyme or reason. I just kind of went for it. But I left these ones in the center here that have gotten a little bit more good light on them, that have some decent leaves. And some on the side here. This feels a little better. I'm going to do a few more over in this corner. This is a bit ridiculous. And I'm tempted to just like rip it all out. I don't know if this is a common theme amongst anyone else when they're gardening, but I get into a phase of like rage gardening where something goes wrong and I just want to rip it all out, but I won't do that. It'll be fine. Whatever happens with this box, it'll be fine. It's looking like I'm going to have it's looking like I'll be able to have a decent harvest from the other 2 lettuce boxes, and I can also completely replant this if that's what I decide to do. If I have any more kale sprouting, I'm going to need a box to put the kale in, so if this one happens to be a wash, perfectly okay. Let me take a few more out of this crazy wild bunch here. Look at all that. Oop. We're kind of tangled. Trying to be gentle while also fighting my urge to rage garden. That one is really thin. Also, I'm glad that I'm learning this lesson of making sure you don't neglect your garden this early on. Last year, I learned this lesson just as everything was becoming beautiful and sprouting. I got a cat, my little Ferg. I got Ferguson and did not go outside besides just like quick watering. Didn't pay much attention to my plants for about a week, and then everything just got destroyed by cabbage worms and wind and probably not the best watering. So I'm glad I'm learning this lesson now as a reminder that I need to keep on it even when things get crazy in my personal life. This is like such a labor of love, and I want to remember not to neglect that. So I'm feeling better about how this looks. I've taken off just a whole handful of things that were never going to produce much anyways. So feeling better about it. It doesn't look that great right now. I'm going to water it, put the lights back on it, and we will see what happens with this box. Same as with our seedlings in the trays and the rest of my boxes that I've got back here. All right, I think that's all that I've got for you this week. So we were able to get a few things accomplished. We did some hardening off just one day. It's been cold and windy every other morning, so I'm sad that I've only been able to get them outside once, but I'm going to continue to do that as the temperature hopefully starts to be a little bit more consistent in the mornings. Consistent is crazy for the Midwest. I'm not even sure why I'm hoping for that, but going to hope to start being a little bit more consistent with the hardening off, getting them outside when it's about that 50, 60 degrees light wind, and keep that project going with the planters that I've got growing behind me here. And then with the sprouts, I hope to get a little bit more light on them. I'm glad we were able to do a really good bottom water for them. Hopefully that helps them spring to life. Hopefully that leads to a little bit more germination, but that's the update for this week. I appreciate you watching as we continue to progress through this balcony garden 2026 early stages. I'm happy to have you here with me through the ups and the downs, and just remembering that it is all an experiment, and I'm sure that you've got some great stories. So comment down below if you have had any garden fails yet this year. I think it'll be good for us all to relate and have a sense of solidarity. Sometimes gardening doesn't go the way you expect it to, and that's okay. You just keep moving and plant some more seeds, I guess. But I appreciate you following along with the journey. Be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for more updates on how this balcony garden continues to progress and ultimately turns out this year. I'm going to go ahead and take this pile of greens that I've just thinned from the Burpee Bib variety lettuce, and I'm going to sprinkle them on where my tomato plants are going to be. A mini version of lazy composting, I guess, but I thought that that might be better than just throwing them out because I'm not going to eat them. They have a lot of dirt on them. Just don't really want to take the time. So I thought we would appreciate a little bit of a sit-down chat in the middle of this gardening fiasco, just to be real and raw. So it has been such a week for me, and I have a hard time with keeping up with gardening when my life just feels very chaotic, and I'm sure that that is relatable. There's just been a lot of things going on, job related, and it's been quite overwhelming. It makes me want to come home and just lay on the couch, stare at the ceiling, and recharge before I have to do it all over again the next day. There was a positive with this week. So I don't think I've talked about this before, but I have a gift wrapping business, and in the spring I don't usually see a lot of people reaching out. Honestly, outside of the holiday season in end of November, early December is when I do most of my wrapping. Makes sense with Christmas and everything. But I did have a guy reach out and have me wrap a couple presents for his grandkids. So that really brightened the start of my week. That was on Sunday, so maybe I'll insert some pictures in here with how they turned out. But I'm trying to see the positives. So that's a positive. It's another positive that we have got things a little bit more under control. I'm feeling a little bit more prepared as we go into this next week. Prepared and hopeful. I think there's going to be some big changes coming up in my personal life going forward, but I'm happy to have gardening as something that grounds me throughout these chaotic times. I also want to kind of reframe. I don't ever want gardening to feel like a stress or something that is overwhelming to me. And so I really am working on reframing in my mind that the stress that I'm feeling in different areas of my life is not something I have to transfer onto, something that I usually find a lot of joy out of. And I think during difficult moments, things like gardening can continue to be that bit of joy that you need to get through the day. I'm hopeful that I'm able to spend a little bit more intentional time nurturing my sprouts this week, and I'm hopeful for a lot of progress this week. So stay tuned. I post videos on Sunday, so I'll have this up for you this Sunday. You can expect an update next Sunday. Hopefully I have a lot more positive and joyful news for you. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate the time that I get to spend with you, and I appreciate your comments and likes, and I really value that you're here with me. Take care.